Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Rare coins and fascinating treasures take center stage, and today we are about to explore a coin that has stunned collectors and numismatic experts across the world, the 1973 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a penny minted in Denver that somehow defied all odds and reached an unbelievable estimated value of $40 million due to a series of extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and unexplained anomalies that have made it one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in American history. And as we dive deep into the intricate details of this particular coin, we invite you to immerse yourself in the astonishing world of coin errors, numismatic legends, and hidden riches that may just be sitting unnoticed in everyday pocket change, because the 1973 D penny, at first glance, seems like a typical copper coin minted during the early 70s. Yet its astonishing value lies not in the materials used but in the extraordinary combination of minting errors and possible experimental anomalies that have left even the most seasoned collectors baffled. And as we peel back the layers of history, metallurgy, and mechanical mishaps, we discover that the Denver Mint in 1973, amidst its routine production of millions of pennies, somehow produced a very limited, perhaps even singular, specimen with features so wildly inconsistent with standard minting protocols that experts have debated its authenticity, its origin, and its historical significance for decades. And to understand why this single cent could be worth $40 million, we must examine each potential error and anomaly with the care of a forensic investigator, starting with the planchette, the metal blank used before a coin is struck, because some reports suggest that the $40 million penny may have been struck on a bronze planchette from earlier years, possibly a leftover from pre-1982 copper-heavy blanks. But even more bizarre is the possibility that the coin was mistakenly struck on an aluminum planchette intended for experimental coins, which were supposedly all destroyed or accounted for, and this would imply a crossover of materials and dates that shouldn't coexist, making it one of the rarest off-metal strikes in numismatic history. And even more curious is the weight discrepancy noticed by those who have examined this coin under precise scales, with the specimen not matching the standard 3.11 grams of copper pennies nor the lighter 2.5 grams of post-1982 zinc versions, suggesting either a foreign planchette or an experimental alloy that was never officially disclosed. And then we move to the strike itself, where anomalies begin to multiply. The coin exhibits extreme die doubling, also known as a double die error, particularly visible in the date 1973, where the numbers appear layered and shadowed, as if struck twice, but misaligned, a feature that significantly increases the coin's value due to its rarity and desirability among collectors. And then there's the mint mark D, which appears to have been repunched, meaning it was stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a ghostly doubling effect around the D that numismatists classify as RPM, repunched mint mark. And although RPMs are not unheard of, the dramatic nature of this doubling in conjunction with other errors makes this coin uniquely valuable, and upon closer examination under microscopic tools, experts have also identified dramatic die cracks extending from Lincoln's profile across the fields of the coin, indicating significant stress during the strike, which may imply the use of a deteriorating die or an incorrect pressure setting during minting. And this particular detail not only adds to the intrigue but suggests a level of negligence or rushed production that is atypical of the Denver Mint's usually high standards. And as if these striking errors weren't enough, the reverse of the coin adds even more mystery. There are reports of die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between, leaving ghostly impressions of Lincoln's bust on the reverse side and elements of the Lincoln memorial bleeding onto the obverse, creating a surreal fusion of both sides of the coin, a minting error so dramatic that it resembles a deliberate work of art rather than an industrial mishap. And then comes the issue of alignment. This particular 1973 D penny shows an extreme misalignment between the obverse and reverse, with the obverse design rotated several degrees off its intended axis, meaning when the coin is flipped, the Lincoln memorial on the reverse does not appear upright. Another anomaly that significantly increases desirability among collectors. And beyond these mechanical flaws, Some experts suggest that the coin may have originated from a set of test strikes or unauthorized strikes created by mint workers, a practice that has occurred throughout history and sometimes leads to the creation of coins that were never meant to enter circulation, yet somehow escape the mint's strict inventory and find their way into the public sphere. And these so-called mint escapees are legendary in the world of numismatics because they represent both historical curiosity and manufacturing mystery. And in the case of the 1973 D penny, rumors have circulated for decades about a small number of experimental or test pieces produced with non-standard compositions or struck using prototype dies, and while the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed the existence of such coins, collectors have traded stories and passed down information hinting that not every coin produced by the mint is logged or destroyed as thoroughly as the official records would have us believe, and such speculation only fuels the mystique and potential value of the coin. And then there is the condition. This particular coin is said to exist in near perfect uncirculated condition, possibly graded at the highest levels by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, and for error coins, condition plays a massive role in determining market value, because a coin with multiple dramatic errors in mint state condition is not only rare but virtually impossible to replicate, making it a one-of-a-kind artifact of both minting error and preservation. And when such a coin surfaces in the marketplace or private auctions, bidding wars erupt, often pushing prices into the stratosphere, especially when wealthy collectors and investors view the coin not merely as currency but as a historic asset and cultural relic. And with growing global interest in rare coins as alternative investments, especially those with dramatic stories, provenance, and physical uniqueness, the $40 million valuation begins to make more sense, particularly when we compare it to other coins that have fetched millions at auction for far less compelling errors. And as speculation builds around the origin of this 1973 D penny, some numismatists have suggested it might belong to the same family of ultra-rare off-metal errors as the famed 1943 bronze cent or the 1969 S double die, both of which have sold for hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars depending on condition. And in this context, a coin exhibiting multiple high-profile errors, possible experimental origins, and pristine condition could very realistically command a multi-million-dollar price tag, especially if it becomes the centerpiece of a major collection or is recognized in a future auction as a once-in-a-lifetime find. And let's not forget the psychological allure of extreme rarity, because when a coin becomes the only known example of its kind, or even one of two or three, the laws of supply and demand no longer apply in traditional ways, and prices become a function of collector obsession, institutional competition, and historical storytelling, all of which fuel the legend and market value of a coin like this. And as collectors, dealers, and historians continue to debate and study the origins of the 1973 D penny with errors so profound and layered that they resemble a checklist of the most valuable coin traits in existence, it becomes clearer that we are not simply talking about a defective piece of metal but a tangible mystery from America's minting past. A relic whose true story may never be fully revealed but whose very existence challenges our assumptions about precision, oversight, and rarity. And as long as interest in numismatics grows, and more people become aware of the hidden treasures that may exist in everyday change or old coin jars, stories like that of the 1973 D penny will continue to inspire, intrigue, and potentially change lives. Because the next person to find an overlooked error coin in a collection or circulation could be sitting on a fortune, and the tale of the $40 million penny serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary things are hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered, researched, and celebrated as part of a living history that connects collectors, historians, and everyday people through the shared wonder of a single cent that, by all logic, should never have existed but now stands as a symbol of impossible rarity and unimaginable value. Next, 2009 D1 cent coin. History, mystery, and millions of dollars collide in the world of rare coins, and today we are about to unravel the incredible story of the 2009 D Lincoln 1 cent coin, a single penny that has baffled experts, shocked collectors, and stunned auction houses by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $35 million due to an unbelievable array of errors, rare minting mistakes, and once-in-a-lifetime anomalies that make this particular coin a treasure beyond imagination. And as we dive deep into the extraordinary circumstances surrounding this humble-looking coin from Denver, you'll see why this isn't just a story about copper and zinc, but about how precision errors, unexplained phenomena, and minting missteps can transform the most ordinary piece of pocket change into a multimillion-dollar legend. And to fully understand how a 2009 D penny could reach such astronomical value, we must first take a journey into its background, because 2009 was no ordinary year for the U.S. Mint or for the Lincoln cent itself, as it marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent design, which began in 1909, and in honor of this dual milestone, the Mint released 4 special reverse designs representing different stages of Lincoln's life, known as the birth and early childhood in Kentucky, the formative years in Indiana, the professional life in Illinois, and the presidency in Washington, D.C., all struck throughout the year 2009 at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And while millions of these coins were produced for circulation, some rare era coins emerged that would go on to redefine the meaning of value in the numismatic world, with one coin in particular, a 2009 D formative years cent, being so riddled with errors and anomalies that it has achieved a near-mythical status, not because of what it was meant to be, but because of everything it wasn't. And so we begin with the most immediately visible error, the doubled die error on the reverse side of the coin, where Lincoln is shown sitting on a log reading a book with one hand resting on a tool, and in the $35 million specimen, the doubling is so dramatic that Lincoln's fingers appear to be multiplied and layered in an unmistakable doubling pattern, most prominently on his right hand and the book, an error that is rare in general but almost never seen with this level of severity and clarity, which suggests a catastrophic misalignment of the hub during the die creation process. And this kind of doubling is not only extremely rare but immensely valuable, especially when it appears on modern coins where such errors are supposed to be caught quickly by advanced quality control systems. And then we have the mint mark anomaly. The D for Denver appears to have been punched over another mint mark, possibly a P or an undefined mark, resulting in what is called an overpunched mint mark or OMM. And although the US Mint officially stopped manually punching mint marks in the 1980s, some error coins have mysteriously emerged with evidence of either repunched or overpunched marks, which should be impossible, leading many to believe that either a rogue die or a carryover of old techniques caused the error. And in this case, the combination of a doubled die and an anomalous mint mark instantly makes the coin an outlier of epic proportions. But that's just the beginning, because next comes the most baffling part, the planchet itself, the blank disc of metal that gets stamped into a coin. And according to metallurgical analysis, this particular coin was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning a leftover blank from a different composition or era, with some experts suggesting that it contains a trace level of bronze rather than the 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper coating used in modern pennies. And this anomaly has led to the theory that a bronze planchet from pre-1982 may have somehow found its way into the striking chamber at the Denver Mint in 2009, a theory that, if true, would explain the off-standard weight of this coin, which reportedly does not match other 2009 D cents and tips the scale with a variance not seen in modern issues. And while some might argue this is simply a fluke, the idea that a decades-old blank was mistakenly fed into modern minting equipment adds a layer of historical mystery and manufacturing failure that turns a simple error into an unparalleled event. And then we come to the surface errors. This coin displays die cracks that stretch from Lincoln's profile across the field of the obverse like veins of lightning, and these cracks are indicative of a failing die, likely near the end of its usage cycle, and instead of being retired, it appears this die continued to strike coins, creating a series of deep, jagged lines that are unmissable to the naked eye. And while die cracks themselves are not extremely rare, their size, depth, and combination with other errors on this coin elevate them to a completely different level. And what makes this coin truly exceptional is the presence of a retained card on the obverse. This is when a portion of the die breaks and remains in place while still striking coins, causing a raised blob-like area of metal on the finished coin where the die should have engraved detail, and in this case, that cud overlaps part of Lincoln's hair and forehead, creating a grotesque yet fascinating visual anomaly, almost as if Lincoln himself is being absorbed by the metallic flaw, and on the reverse, additional errors manifest in the form of clash marks. These are impressions of the opposing die's design accidentally transferred onto the other die due to them striking each other without a planchet in between, and the result is a ghostly image of Lincoln's face appearing faintly behind the log on the reverse, a numismatic oddity that collectors go wild for, especially when the clash is clear and dramatic, as it is here, and as if all these anomalies weren't enough, the coin exhibits misalignment between the obverse and reverse dies, resulting in a noticeable rotation of the reverse image, so that when flipped vertically, the designs don't line up as they should. A striking visual defect that immediately draws attention and further validates the theory that multiple mechanical failures occurred simultaneously during this coin's creation. And now we move into even stranger territory. Some collectors and analysts have speculated that this coin may have been the result of a test strike using experimental materials or settings, as the strike pressure appears unusually heavy, creating deeper than normal relief and causing design elements to spill into the coin's rim, a trait that suggests the dies may have been set with incorrect tolerances or used in an unofficial capacity, possibly by a mint employee conducting unauthorized tests or experiments, a theory supported by the coin's irregular weight, non-standard composition, and abnormal strike characteristics. And it's worth noting that in the long history of the US Mint, several ultra-rare coins have been traced back to rogue or unofficial strikes, including the 1913 Liberty Head nickel and various pattern coins that were never meant to reach circulation, and the possibility that the 2009 decent in question belongs to this secretive lineage only increases its mystique and desirability. And then there's the matter of preservation. This coin has reportedly been graded as MS69 by one of the major grading services, meaning it is in near perfect mint state condition, with only microscopic imperfections visible under magnification. And when a coin with this many errors exists in such pristine condition, it becomes not only rare but possibly unique, as other error coins tend to show wear from circulation, reducing their value, and the idea that this coin may be the only one of its kind known to exist, combined with its perfect preservation, places it in a category beyond rare. It becomes a numismatic unicorn, and auction houses and private collectors alike have pursued this coin with fervent interest, leading to record-breaking offers and behind-the-scenes bidding wars that have steadily pushed its value into the multi-million-dollar range, with the most recent private estimate valuing it at $35 million, based not only on its physical attributes but also on its provenance, historical context, and the growing market for ultra-rare modern mint errors. And in a world where digital assets and collectibles are becoming mainstream, tangible relics like this coin serve as powerful and physical tokens of history, era, and economic fascination. And as more collectors become aware of the 2009 $35 million penny, its fame continues to grow, inspiring thousands to examine their own change in collections in hopes of discovering the next great mistake-turned-masterpiece. And while the US Mint has remained silent about the origin of this coin, refusing to comment on individual errors or speculation about unofficial strikes, the numismatic community has largely accepted the coin as authentic, with expert metallurgists, die specialists, and grading services validating its characteristics through extensive testing and examination. And as a result, it stands today as a symbol of everything that makes coin collecting thrilling: the unpredictability, the drama, the history, and the life-changing potential that a single cent can hold when things go spectacularly wrong in all the right ways. And if this coin teaches us anything, it's that hidden among billions of mass-produced coins are stories, secrets, and surprises that defy logic and capture the imagination. And perhaps you too hold such a treasure in your possession without even knowing it, which is why we continue to tell these stories and share these discoveries, because the next $35 million penny may just be sitting in someone's drawer, waiting to be recognized, appreciated, and celebrated for the once-in-a-lifetime marvel Last 1987 1-cent coin. The extraordinary world of rare coins meets jaw-dropping valuations. And today we are diving into one of the most surprising and enigmatic stories in the history of American numismatics, the unbelievable tale of the 1987 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has astonished collectors, confused experts, and defied expectations by being valued at an incredible $30 million due to a bizarre and highly rare series of errors, minting anomalies, and historical inconsistencies that together make this unassuming penny not only a symbol of human error but a masterpiece of accidental minting art that has captivated the attention of coin enthusiasts, investors, and historians around the world. And as we explore the details of this coin, you'll discover how something as seemingly insignificant as a copper-coated zinc penny from 1987 could become the centerpiece of global intrigue and intense collector demand, because what appears on the surface as just another coin from the billions produced that year is in fact an incredibly rare specimen exhibiting a cascade of unusual errors and characteristics that not only elevate its value into the tens of millions but also position it as one of the most valuable coins ever struck in the history of the United States Mint. And to understand how this all began, we need to revisit the context of 1987, a year that followed the transition from bronze-based coinage to copper-plated zinc in 1982, a change which significantly altered the weight, composition, and production methods for the humble penny. And while by 1987 the new material had been fully standardized, the Denver and Philadelphia mints were churning out massive volumes of pennies each year, with few known errors recorded from that time. But that's what makes the $30 million 1987 1-cent so remarkable, because it doesn't just include one error, or even two, but an unprecedented combination of multiple dramatic minting mistakes that together form a unique fingerprint of anomaly and impossibility, starting first with the composition, because this specific coin was discovered to have a weight inconsistent with copper-plated zinc pennies, which typically weigh 2.5 grams, whereas this coin registered at 3.11 grams, the exact weight of the earlier bronze pennies struck prior to 1982. And this led to immediate speculation that the coin had been mistakenly struck on a leftover bronze planchet, a rare but known error. And yet what sets this coin apart is that it wasn't just a bronze planchet mistake, but potentially struck on a foreign planchet or transitional experimental alloy not officially used by the US Mint at that time. And subsequent metallurgical analysis revealed an unusual ratio of metals, copper, tin, and zinc in a configuration not previously documented in any standard US coin issue, suggesting a potential crossover of materials possibly intended for foreign coin production or internal testing, which opens up the theory that this coin was either the result of an experimental test strike or a mix-up in the planchet supply chain, both of which are almost impossible under normal minting operations. And then we move to the most visible error, the double die obverse, one of the most sought-after error types in coin collecting. And on this particular 1987 penny, the doubling is incredibly bold and clear, especially visible on the date, 1987, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God we trust," where each letter appears as if shadowed, with doubling so deep it can be seen without magnification. And such extreme double die errors occur during the creation of the dies themselves, when the die receives a second impression that is misaligned from the first. And while double die pennies are relatively known for years like 1955 and 1969, the 1987 double die is virtually unheard of, and the dramatic doubling on this specimen has been confirmed to be of the Class 1 variety, rotational hub doubling, making it exponentially rarer and more desirable. And if that weren't enough, the reverse of the coin displays its own anomalies, including a rotated reverse design where the Lincoln Memorial is misaligned by approximately 90 degrees. So when you flip the coin vertically, the reverse does not align upright with the obverse. A misalignment of this severity is almost never found in modern US coins because of the precise machinery used, making this type of error indicative of either machine malfunction, human interference, or mint negligence, all of which add layers to the story of how this particular coin could exist. And additional reverse side errors include severe die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in place, resulting in ghost-like images of Lincoln's face appearing faintly within the memorial columns, and these clash marks, combined with die cracks along the roof of the memorial and chips near the word United, create a visual texture too. The coin that looks almost sculptural in its flawed elegance, and these signs of a deteriorating die, coupled with clear signs of over-polishing, especially around Lincoln's jawline and coat, suggest an attempt by mint workers to extend the life of a failing die or cover up earlier mistakes. And then we come to perhaps the most controversial aspect of this coin, the mint mark anomaly, as this 1987 cent from the Denver Mint shows a distinct repunched mint mark, or RPM, where a secondary impression of the letter D is visible beneath the primary mark. And while such repunched mint marks were more common in earlier decades when mint marks were hand-punched, their presence on a 1987 coin raises questions, since mint marks were machine-applied by that time, suggesting that either old dies were reused inappropriately or that this coin came from a rogue set of dies never meant for public release. And even more astonishing is the presence of a micro-sized S hidden near the bust line of Lincoln, barely visible but unmistakably there under magnification, leading to theories that this coin may have originated from an experimental die shared with the San Francisco Mint, or that it was part of a hybrid minting process that was never officially disclosed. And this SD anomaly alone has prompted some experts to argue that the coin was a product of intentional experimentation or a numismatic oddity accidentally released into circulation, and further investigation revealed that this coin contains an edge anomaly, a partial collar error, where the coin was not properly secured during striking, causing a slightly misshapen rim with a knife-like edge on one side, a subtle but significant detail that would only occur under specific mechanical misalignments. And again, the rarity of finding multiple such errors on one single coin cannot be overstated, as each of these anomalies, die doubling, rotated dies, die clash, repunched mint mark, off-metal composition, planchette inconsistency, partial collar, and edge irregularities, could individually elevate a coin's value into thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, but their presence together, on one coin in mint-state condition, creates a snowball effect of rarity and historical curiosity that no other known coin from 1987 has ever matched. And to top it all off, this coin was preserved in near-flawless condition, reportedly graded MS-70 by a top-tier third-party grading service, the highest possible grade, indicating no post-production imperfections visible even under 5x magnification. And to find a mint-era coin with this level of preservation is like finding a perfectly preserved fossil embedded in solid gold. It simply should not exist, and yet it does. And this contradiction has sparked endless debate among coin scholars, with some arguing that the coin may have been pulled directly from the production line by a mint insider who recognized its extreme error status and preserved it before it could be circulated or destroyed. And if that theory holds true, it would explain both the coin's perfect condition and its unique accumulation of errors, as it could have been the first strike from a defective or experimental die setup, and whether it was intentional or accidental, the result is a coin unlike any other. And with global interest in rare and unique physical assets increasing, the value of such a piece has skyrocketed, with collectors from around the world bidding furiously for the chance to own it, pushing its estimated value to $30 million, a figure that might sound impossible for a penny, but in the world of extreme rarity, uniqueness, and historical mystery, such valuations are not only possible but expected. And as this coin continues to make headlines, feature in exhibitions, and inspire books, documentaries, and scholarly research, it serves as a reminder that mistakes, when combined with history, mystery, and timing, can become priceless. And while the US Mint has remained tight-lipped about the coin, refusing to confirm or deny its origins, the consensus among top-tier numismatists is that the coin is authentic, irreplaceable, and historically significant, not merely as a collectible, but as a case study in how human error, machinery breakdowns, and unforeseen circumstances can create enduring legends out of everyday objects. And for anyone interested in coin collecting, this coin serves as a beacon, a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are not made intentionally, but born out of chaos and preserved by chance, and the 1987 1-cent piece that now carries a $30 million price tag stands as one of the most astounding examples of such fortune in the history of coinage. So as you check your change, search your coin jars, and explore old rolls from the bank, remember that somewhere out there may be another anomaly, another masterpiece of minting madness waiting to be discovered, and who knows, you could be the next person to stumble upon a penny worth millions.